What up, what up, what up, everybody? It's your man, Dame, the NYDC. Two mics up. We back again Monday night. Man, we doing it again, y'all. And I'm going to tell you how we doing this. We taking this really to a whole nother level. We're going to enter tonight's conversation with a queen. And I mean, when I say queen, I'm talking about a queen who's really breaking down doors in an industry that is really male dominated. And I think what the sister is doing is a game changer, and I hope other young women and men pay attention because what she's doing is really spectacular. From time that I've had to sit down and meet and talk with her originally, kind of get into her background and what she's all about. She's bringing a whole new headway into this game, and I know y'all probably like every week I like to tease a little bit. You're like, damn, okay, can we just jump into it? And I think it's about time. I'm gonna bring this sister to the stage, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here with the Fleet Queen. That's what I like to call her, Seretha Willingham. She's doing big things, Seretha. So I drawed it out for you, sis. But I want you to take a moment, introduce yourself to our audience, and really give us a little background about yourself and who you are.
Absolutely. Well, first, I always start out by saying thank you for having me on your platform, on your show. Thank you for featuring SJW Logistics. We are truly grateful for the opportunity. And I just want to say I'm Seretha Willingham. I am the founder and CEO of SJW Logistics. We are a full service 3PL offering fleet transportation, warehousing, and order fulfillment services. We have a warehouse of over 22,000 square foot and over 13 semi trucks that are outfitted with state of the art equipment for our customers.
Woo. Look, that's not small. That's not small change for those who don't know. And I really want to know uh, before we get to where you are today. I think it's really important to really talk about how it all began. With you and in your. I don't know if it was a dream, a vision, or something that sometimes you just have one of those days you come across something you go, you know what, I can do that. And I'm just curious for you, how did that start for you?
Well, I have a best friend that we've been best friends since seventh grade, and he's a truck driver. So he said, "Hey, we were talking, and I told him I always wanted to own a truck, and then I started working for a 3PL, and he educated me on what it's like as a driver owning a truck, things to go through, and he pumped me up, and I said, I think I'm gonna do it. And I started the traditional way, like most people start, buy a truck and put a driver in it and get into the industry. And then years later, I learned there were so many different ways I could have started and been just as successful. But we're here now, right? And we're still
Right.
successful. But that is how I got started. Just the motivation from my best friend and being able to work at a 3PL and see everything from top down.
So I want to take a minute because I know some people, they may have heard you, but can you really break down 3PL service for those who are listening? Because you mentioned it, but I want to make sure people really have an understanding of the 3PL service industry and what you're providing specifically.
So a lot of people don't even realize that's a great question because a lot of people don't even realize they work with 3PLs every day. But a
Mm-hmm.
3PL is a third party logistics provider. So that just means you're a middleman between getting a product picked up and delivered, whether it's to a distribution center or to the end consumer.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say because the important piece is that being that, so like if we take, let's just say, because everybody uses them, the Amazons of the world.
Yes.
Uh, a lot of times, or most of the time, someone like yourself, that middleman is really the one handling the pickup and the delivery of said product. Let's say, um, and that I would say, and I want to ask because you've been doing this. Because I used to be in the trade show industry and I'm familiar with transportation and warehousing, but has that really shot up? Like, has that market really taken off and become just that much more lucrative now with the Amazons and the Targets of the world, kind of creating that need for the pickup and delivery or that middleman?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because everyone wants everything on demand now. So what Amazon did was introduce this. You can get your stuff Prime. You can get your stuff same day delivery, 2 hours from now, 3 hours from now. So then you got your Targets and your WalMarts that are not trying to copy them too fast,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure it out. So what that caused is a demand in the last mile industry for consumers. And it really picked up for a lot of retailers when COVID hit because everybody was home. So the demand went up for last mile delivery.
Mm. So and again, not to get into all of it, but like you said, that last mile delivery. I mean, is that what really for you then, or maybe so more so over COVID? Has that really helped you to kind of maybe double or increase your size from maybe where you started to where you are now? Because I mean, you said 13 trucks, you all decked out, you got the warehouse space. Like over the last 2 years of the pandemic, has that really played a huge part in your continued growth and success?
Yes. So, like I said, I started with one truck. My one truck burned down
Oh
within
wow.
the first year of having it. I leased on to other owner operators to grow my company until I could afford to buy another truck. But then when the pandemic hit, I was able to use the funding they provided to keep companies afloat. I was able to use mine to help me grow. So in 2020, we went from having 5 trucks to 12 trucks within
Wow.
6 months. And then by
Wow.
the end of 2020 is when we decided to open another line of business and become a full service 3PL to have the warehousing to
Wow.
our company.
So how has that benefited you then to go from just, I don't want to say solely trucking, but having that truck piece or that centerpiece, but now being able to add on like the warehousing and the cross docking, I would imagine, and some of the other services. I mean, can you talk about like some of the other services now that you've been able to continue to add on with the pandemic?
Yes. So one thing a potential customer said it to us today. One thing they love about us is that we can provide everything on one invoice. We take
Wow.
the headache out of logistics, because we work with a lot of small to medium sized businesses, and one thing they're looking for, oh, I got to find a trucking company for this. I got to find a warehouse for this. They go on and on about the different legs of logistics they have to get
Hmm.
just to make ends meet for their customers. And so with finding us, that's one of our greatest assets is, hey, we can pick up your freight, we can store it in our warehouse, we can deliver it to your customer, or we can deliver it to the retailer, and we can put it all on one invoice for you.
Wow.
And you don't have
Wow.
to worry about that. So we do a little bit of everything.
I about to say that's really every customer's dream.
Mhm.
It's I mean I don't want to make it sound so simple, but sometimes simplicity is the best thing when you can go in one stop shop.
Yes, yes. And that's
And
one thing.
I have to ask mhm.
No, I
No, go
was
ahead
saying,
please.
yes, that's one thing that I learned from corporate America when, the bigger they grow, the more complicated they make things. So
Yeah,
let me simplify it for them.
and that's the best thing. And I have to ask then, because a lot of times, when I sit here and I have so many amazing guests that have been here that are doing, you know, breaking headway into various industries. I want to know because I think it's good for people to be able to hear when doing this. A lot of times, I know even for me starting with this platform, like your mission and vision may have started out one way, but I'm curious for you now, um, after going through your bumps and bruises and your growing pains, and you're still going to have them. But what would you say right now, where you are with SJW Logistics? What would be the company's mission and vision, or what would be your mission and vision for the company?
My mission and vision for the company is to keep what we have, the foundation that we have built, where everyone see us as customer service friendly and being able to make things simple for them. Our drivers see it as we truly care about them and they're not just a truck number. I would want to keep building on that foundation and continue to grow with that foundation. I'm not looking at size right now. It's more so of being able to stay true to who we are and why we started and what mission we're trying to accomplish, what we want people to see us as.
And that's huge too. And I want to even dive a little bit deeper. Like when you just said like what you want, people to see you as, and I don't want to play devil's advocate, but being a woman in a male dominated industry, how much does that really mean to you to really be seen? You know what I'm saying? Because I think that really has to be a very important part, because that's also, and again, me standing from the outside when I first saw this, that's part of what sets you apart too, though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But you know what? I must give credit to the males that I have ran across. A lot of people that are my mentors are males, believe it or not.
Okay.
But I must give credit to that. It sets me apart. But being a woman in a male dominated industry, it was intimidating at first, thinking like, I'm gonna have to fight my way to be heard or fight my way to be seen. But just being a woman in that industry, I get attention right away. So
True.
then by being able to see I'm professional, we have contracts in place, we're about our business, we're on a mission, and how can we partner with you? I've had some
Mm.
of the largest customers be males, and the first thing they say, you are so professional. You are so
Yeah.
professional. And that's what they look for. And that has been, a great quality to have and skill set that I've taught my team. Like, no matter what goes on, we're going to stay professional. And it has drawn a lot of attention to us, and especially with males being it wanting to just help us. I've had
Mm-hmm.
so many people that are issues or things that I might would have had to go through traditional ways. I didn't have to, because I partnered with the male that saw my vision and story and saw it. Yeah, she's good and she needs the help, and we're not going to make her go through this traditional process.
I love that. And before we continue, we're going to take a short pause for the call, but I do want to, because you talk about professionalism, um, and some people, I want to be very sensitive, because some people have a negative connotation when it comes to the trucking industry, and I'm just curious to know, and we'll talk about it coming out the break. Maybe what are some of the things that you maybe tried to put in place, maybe with your team, on a professional level, to kind of change that outlook or that opinion for some. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're gonna take a short pause for the cause. We're gonna be back with the Fleet Queen. Y'all don't go nowhere. And she dropping some gems right here, and we'll be right back after the break. Back out the break, and we are here once again with the amazing Seretha Willingham. We've been really having a great conversation, really diving in to some of her background, her history, the development and growth of SJW Logistics. And before the break, Sabrina talked about something I thought I wanted to really touch on, because I think it's important when it comes to the trucking industry. Some people really have negative connotations about professionalism. And I'm just curious to know, for you, dealing with drivers and things of that nature in that industry, like, are there some tactics or habits or practices that maybe you use, with your team, to kind of create or to continue providing a professional demeanor, no matter whether it be dealing with pickups, deliveries, consumers, whatever it may be. Because I'm just curious, like I said, I worked in the industry for a while, and people had such a negative, and I'm just curious to know, from your standpoint as an owner and a woman, and your professionalism, what have you maybe put in place to kind of help change that narrative, if you will, with your company?
So that was one thing that was a really big shocker for me when I first got into the industry, was about the level of professionalism, because I'm one that I came from Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is big on marketing, customer service, and professionalism. There's certain things you're not gonna do at Coca-Cola, okay?
Okay.
So when I came into the industry with working with XPO and then into my own, drivers, they're impatient, they go through a lot, people are rude to them, they look at them as just a driver.
Yeah.
So I sat down with my drivers and said, look, I have your back. I have your back. My company, I'm not going to let anyone mistreat you if I can help it. If we have to deal with people that have that are rude, I will check them, but there's a way to do it.
Mm.
You don't have to get rude with them. We don't have to cuss anybody out or anything like that. But you have a problem, you call Seretha. Don't try to handle it yourself. And over time, my drivers have learned me and learned, like, you know what, Saritha's not gonna play this. So, and I know if somebody call and tell this on me, she's gonna have a fit. So let me call the office and tell them that the customer is being this, and then we handled it the proper way. So, it's not always about talking and say, even in this industry, you have a chain of command you can go through to get things handled.
So true. So true. I love that. And it sounds like you've built a level of confidence and trust, that, your team knows you have their back, right, wrong, or indifferent. There is a way to deal with people. And,
Yes.
you don't want your team abused. They are human beings too. So I love to hear that. And, you know, it just makes me want to think too, you say you came from Coca-Cola, and I'm pretty sure that was probably a whole experience all to itself. But coming from that corporate giant, and then and starting your own, like, what were some of the challenges maybe that you faced that you didn't foresee, even with your mentoring and things like that? For someone who's listening, like, maybe some of the bumps that they should pay attention to if someone decided tomorrow, hey, you know what, I might want to go out and try my hand at this. So what, could you share maybe one or two challenges that maybe you faced that you didn't even see when you got started?
Yes. So one of the biggest challenges that I faced was the maintenance
Mm,
issue.
mm.
My friend tried as best he could, and I saw and I researched and I talked to other people to prepare for maintenance, but there's nothing. Sometimes they say there's nothing like the real thing. There's nothing like the real thing when it comes to maintenance. So I thought that I was going to be able to buy a truck, put a driver in it, and make so much money before maintenance came up. And I bought the truck, I put a driver in it, and maintenance came up a week later. The truck was in the shop. So, the challenges hit that you cannot control them. And that was another thing, I am a certified project manager. So I've been able to control a lot of things. We plan, we
Mm-hmm.
execute, we
Yep.
we replan when we're off track. We put things in place. And
Yep.
in this industry, you cannot control or plan anything that's going to go the way you expect it to go. You can try,
That's right.
we do, but
You're
it
right.
it just does not always happen as planned. And so being able to get back up, and I tell people that I mentor and coach, sometimes you just got to learn how to fail fast and just say, you
Mm.
know what, today is gone, we're going to worry about tomorrow.
Oh,
And
I
if
love
we
it.
make it to next week, we'll, day
Yep.
by day, week by week, we'll rebound from this.
So true. And that's a great attitude to have. I get it. Wearing the project manager hat, I too wear that hat. And it is some days you can plan it. There's no plan for the unexpected. So it is how you tackle it tomorrow, and how you get better from it the day after, and how you learn from it so that next week you can go back and educate your team on, hey, look, this is what we're going to do to regroup. And hopefully, your time to regroup puts a better plan in action. But again, unexpected still happens. But
Yes.
it's a great attitude to have. Keep pushing forward, let it go. And you mentioned that too, and I'm curious. because one of the key aspects is maintenance. But drivers, like, has that been a challenge too, like with the pandemic? Because at one point we were talking about, maybe early on 2 years ago, about a shortage of drivers. So how have you been able to kind of avert that, or like how have you been able to handle that and manage through that trying time?
It's definitely been a challenge, but I will say for small and medium sized businesses, more drivers have been available for them throughout the
Mm.
pandemic than for the larger companies. So it can get to into a whole deep dive, which I won't get into, about why there's a shortage of drivers and all that good stuff. But I will say a lot of companies are not having trouble finding drivers. The smaller to medium sized companies, there are plenty of drivers out there.
Okay.
It's just the child on both ends. They're not just in trucking, but just in workforce in general, from manufacturers to distributors to just companies, even fast food restaurants. It's getting people to work is the challenge.
Mm.
So we went
I
from a
can take
shortage
that.
to people not working.
Yeah, yeah.
So so it's like we had a double whammy there in finding drivers, but then you have those ones that want to be home every day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that profession don't always work out that way. You got
True.
to move. So we have all sleeper trucks. Our company is over the road. So when you
Right.
sign on with us, you got to be prepared to stay out, and we tell them that up front. Then you have a lot of companies just we're not being honest with drivers. So
Mm.
it was a lot that played into that. But I will say with us, a lot of drivers we have been with us since we've opened,
Oh
or
wow.
when we get drivers, they normally stay with us. Very few reasons they leave, and when they leave, it's not because of the company, as you hear most drivers say, better opportunity is more so because of a family issue
Mm.
there that they have to leave.
That's awesome. I mean, that speaks volumes. Just in that, you hate to hear medical reasons, but like you said, nobody's leaving because, oh man, this place is crap, or man, I can't stand this company, or they want more pay. So that speaks volumes. I also want to ask though, real quick, because you mentioned uh, briefly about teaching and having classes and things like that. Talk about that, like, what are you providing to the community? Because if you're teaching and providing course, like, you're giving back to the community. So what other ways are you sharing your talents and your expertise?
Yes, so this year, because I've been behind the scenes, just doing trucking and logistics, as we call it, in this entrepreneur journey, and I never really did it in marketing or advertising of our company. So this year, we decided to open up Logistical Mix University, where I am sharing my knowledge and experiences. Because my goal is to tell people the different ways to enter the logistics industry, because there is more than one way other than buying a truck and putting a driver in there. There are so many ways to enter and much cheaper ways to
Okay.
enter the industry, to get started and get a feel of it. I tell the most successful people in the logistics industry are ones that educate and research first, and
Mm-hmm.
get them a mentor and get them some guidance and coaching, and then go into the industry.
Man, look here, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I don't know what you doing or what you not doing, but this sister right here has got a lot going on. You should really do your best to really, go follow SJW. Go ahead and get behind Seretha Willingham. Uh, I know she's got some courses coming up. I don't know. We may have missed each other with the airing of this episode, but if you're going to be continuing doing this, Aretha, please feel free to send us the links. We will be happy to share it on our social media, because this is really an incredible way. Because I'm familiar with it, and this is, if you have the moxie and the want and the desire to learn, this is a very good way for people to get into a pretty sufficient form of living. It's really out there, especially with the way that the world is turning, with the Amazons, the Targets, the Walmarts, and everything like that, and everybody being home on the couch. And I want it now. We live in an I want it now society. So this is a great way to really get into it. So before we close, I want to ask you though, Sarita, what's next for you and SJW Logistics?
Well, what's next is just really we have a business plan. We did a lot of leadership courses. One I was featured in it was the keynote speaker for our class is the SBA Emerging Leader 2021 cohort. And thank you. And so with that, we have a very strategic business plan, but we had to change it because supply and demand and economy. So right now we're just trying to stabilize things, get stable employees and workers, and continue to grow. So for SJW Logistics, we would like to open another location. We would like to have more trucks, but right now we're what they say, maintaining in this economy.
I understand.
Until things can stable out. But we have a lot going on behind the scenes that we're going to open up opportunities where we'll be able to take on more drivers, and that way go after some of the bigger giants in the world.
That's what I'm talking about, sis. From your mouth to God's ears, I like to say here. And before we go, I'll be remiss. I want to allow you to, ladies and gentlemen, get your pens or whatever. And don't worry, we'll make sure we put all of that information down in the show notes. But please share, your social media, your website, so people can follow, find, or connect with you in SJW Logistics.
Yes. So if you want to connect with us on Facebook, we're at SJW Trucking, at SJW Delivery. I'm sorry, SJW Logistics. And then we're also on Instagram at SJW Logistics, and we're on LinkedIn at SJW Logistics. And you can also find me on LinkedIn at Seretha Willingham.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I will put all of that information in the show notes. You can reach out, and I mean, I encourage you all. This is really what we use this platform for. Check us out online. As you all know, this season we are rocking on our new home, Mogul TV, that you can see right there at the bottom. Uh, for those of you still watching us on YouTube, you can go ahead and follow us YouTube at Two Mics Up. Leave me a thumbs up, drop a comment, and like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.
007.